Alright, what's going on, dudes, and welcome back to Minecraft, where this time we'll be checking out the Extreme Farming mod, a mod that makes farming more extreme, or some sort of catchphrase along those lines. I don't know. Anyway, let's get started. So, as you might be able to tell by the demo I just set off there, this mod adds in a bunch of different types of TNT, but they don't blow things up. They just make farming a little bit more exciting. So we've got a couple prep work blocks to lay down some water and some dirt, and we've got the actual farming supplies with carrots and wheat and potatoes, a few others like TNT and flower power, netherwort, mushrooms and melons and pumpkins, and yeah. So let's get into things. If you want to plant any wheat, carrots, potatoes, things that actually rely on having tilled ground, then you're going to need to do some prep work, as I was just mentioning. So you'll need a water bomb, and you'll need a dirt bomb, or a dirty bomb, as I prefer to call it. These are the crafting recipes here, because not enough items has not yet been updated to 1.7.2. So as you'll notice right here, when I just set off the dirt bomb, all the tilled ground is going away because there's no water around. So let's fix that and set off a water bomb. And that'll just sprinkle some water blocks about so that we can actually maintain our tilled ground. But since a lot of it has gone away, let's set off another dirty bomb real quick so we can get our farmland back into nice and pristine condition. All right, cool. So there we go. There we have a nice primo farmland for us to plant stuff. I don't know. It is what it is. So now let's move on to the next chest, which is types of crop that rely on having tilled ground and water in order to grow. So we've got our carrots, we've got our wheats, we've got our potatoes. Why don't we just toss them in our inventory right here? Crafting recipes for all of these require 5 gunpowder, and then you just fill in the remaining 4 slots with whatever the thing is that you're building. Its corresponding resource. So anyway, why don't we just make a standard wheat farm to begin with? So we'll put a wheat TNT down right here, and we'll set it off, and it'll fill up the tilled ground with some wheat. Anything that doesn't land on the tilled ground, it may actually stay for a very brief period of time, but if it lands on the grass, for example, then as soon as there's a block update or realizes what's happened, it'll just pop off. So for example, if I put a block down here, that's gonna pop off back into being a seed. But anyway, now you can just treat it like a usual farm. For the sake of examples, we can set off, I don't know, potato TNT or something, and we'll see if it how it mixes in with an existing farm, if it takes any of the wheat out or if it just tries to fill in any available spots. Looks like it just tries to fill in any available locations. So anyway, just as an example, if I set off, say, the carrots over on grass over here without doing any prep work, some of it may actually hold at first, but slowly but surely the plants will actually start falling off and turning into carrots in some instances. It's actually kind of nice. If you just want to get a bunch of carrots, you can set off the carrot TNT, and as you can see, you'll get a bunch even if it's not on a prepared surface. So kind of convenient there. But again, as soon as we set a block update, it's just gonna disappear. So yeah, good to keep in mind. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's move on into some other different types of farming blocks. So let me clear out my hotbar here really quickly. And these don't require any sort of prep work. So we have tree TNT, or as I like to call it, TNT, flower power, netherwort, and mushrooms. So we'll set them all off just as examples. And as far as I know, nothing works on stone, so we'll stick to grass. But again, these don't require any prep work, except for the mushrooms, which they're not going to latch because it's a high light level out here. But if we did this underground somewhere, for example, then all the mushrooms would latch on. We'd have ourselves a little mushroom farm. But I mean, it doesn't even hurt. You get a bunch of mushrooms from it anyway. So for the cost of 5 gunpowder, essentially, you get to multiply your mushrooms by a huge amount. So kind of nice. But again, if we put a block update down next to any of these, they're just going to pop off. So keep that in mind. All right, so for the netherwort, we're actually going to need some soul sand for that. So let me grab some really quickly. Otherwise, again, it's not going to latch on. So let's just lay down a little bit of soul sand here, and then we can place down our netherwort TNT in the center and create a little netherwort farm. So here we go. Put it on down, and kablamo soon. Yeah. So these are going to pop off, but everything that actually landed on the netherwort is going to work. So pretty cool stuff. Next up, flower power, which is dependent upon being on grass. obviously. So we'll set that off, and it's just gonna create a really nice flowery field with all the new 1.7 flowers. How pretty is that? Oh man, I like flower power. And then and finally we have TNT, which you may be wondering, how does that work? It simply lays down a bunch of saplings that you can then wait to have grow, or you can grow yourself with bone meal. It's whatever you want, but that's what it does. Some of them aren't going to grow here because they're in the wrong biomes, but we can try growing some of them. Guess you're not going to work. There we go. Got some spruce, got some jungle wood, got some not going to grow here. More jungle. So you can just create a really, really dense area, a bunch of different types of trees. Or you could just destroy the saplings and then take them elsewhere. That's probably the better call, just because I don't think you want a really dense forest of all different types of random trees. But it's your call. I don't know, whatever floats your boat. That's TNT, though, in a nutshell. Okay, so I think that's those 4 out of the way. Let's move on to the final 2, which are the melon and the pumpkin, which are a bit less surface dependent, but you still, as far as I know, you can't spawn them on stone or any sort of solid block like that. All right. So these don't actually really create a farm, so to speak. They just essentially spawn a bunch of the blocks. So again, for the cost of 5 gunpowder, you get lots and lots of melons and pumpkins. So here we go. Let's set you off there, and woo, lots of melons. And just for the sake of demoing here, if we set it off on stone, it's not going to work. It'll actually just explode and not do anything, except unless the blast radius reaches some grass, in which case, hey, there we go. We do have some pumpkins there. So cool, and just one more. Set it off on grass. And something to keep in mind is if you are doing this in survival mode, which you're probably going to be doing if you're using this mod, the TNT is an actual explosion, so it will hurt you. So keep that in mind. Switch into survival here, and I don't know, we'll set this off, and you'll notice it's going to do some damage to me if I stand close. So yeah, be careful. Almost killed me there. Okay, well, anyway, that's about it for the Extreme Farming mod. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, a rating would be much appreciated. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. If you want any more info on the mod, you can find it in the description. And that's going to do it. So I will see you next time.